Well, Echotone, we talk about it like as if it. Let me start over.
Yeah.
Echotone is a cultural portrait of the modern American city, examined through the lyrics and lens of Austin, Texas creative class. So, what that means is that there's a thriving community here in the music scene. It's actually built the reputation of the city, I would argue. And now that a lot of people are moving here, there's a huge downtown development. Some people are starting to say maybe the music scene is being threatened. 2 years ago, the mayor even started the live music task force to address what he called the live music crisis in the city. So we immediately started wondering, well, there must be a story here. We started hearing about noise ordinances and midnight curfews for musicians, and of course the rising value of the street prices downtown just to live. And that's where most musicians do their work. You know, that's their office, is the venue. So we picked up the cameras and we explored based on this hypothesis that there was a conflict here, and there was.
It was there. So, I was going to say, what did you guys end up finding?
Well, we found that the scene is just incredibly diverse and very thriving. We explored this dynamic of art versus commerce through the eyes of Black Joe Lewis, who by night he is this soul revivalist. He gets people dancing, he packs clubs, and by day he delivers fish because he can't really make any money off of his music. It's just, it's the way the industry is these days. I mean, it doesn't work like it used to, where you sign a 5-record contract and then you've made it, you know. And then you have Bill Baird from the band Sound Team, who they were big hometown heroes here in the early aughts. And they got signed to Capitol Records, and they didn't sell enough copies of their album, and they got dropped. So he's been through it all. And then you have a band, Bel Air, who they don't want to capitalize on their music whatsoever. So you have very different perspectives on the same drama.
Wow. So with the plethora of musicians that we have in the city, how did you guys go about figuring out who you wanted to highlight?
Well, talk about the ATX Converge.
Yeah, we used to put on, and we still do, put on this event series biannually in Austin that takes place in September called the ATX Converge. And we're doing it actually this year in conjunction with Austin Film Festival this Sunday. And usually it's a showcase of local bands, and that's what we wanted to do from the start, and that's how we discovered a lot of the bands that are in the movie, was that they would come and play for us, and they would just come across on screen, and their stories would, jump across to us. So Nathan started following Black Joe, I think, after you saw him at ATX.
Yeah, directly afterwards. Yeah.
So it's so that's consistently been a launching point for us, is bands that are going through the Mohawk. It's where the party takes place. Mohawk has been kind of like a stable for new emerging bands in Austin for the last few years, and has made a huge impact on music in the United States in general. So that's really where we focused our attention.
Just on that one spot. But I mean, there's so many musicians that go through there that I can still imagine it was probably hard to kind of pick and choose which ones to highlight.
That's kind of the epicenter. We go to clubs all over town in the film, but that is the epicenter.
Yeah.
But it's really, we filmed tons of musicians that didn't make it into the film, even if they're great performances like Brownout or Gary Clark Jr. But the stories with these particular musicians just jumped out and resonated. They're also different too.
So what do you guys hope your audience walks away thinking and feeling when they finish watching the movie?
First off, I hope they tear up with excitement and they get really excited about the city, and if they're artists, I hope they're forced to reevaluate their path or just look at it again, and I hope they're inspired by it, because it gets people's blood boiling. It's a very dramatic film. It shows that the city's future is uncertain in regards to its creative class. So I think there's more voices need to be heard, and I hope it inspires people to do that. And moreover, I hope it just brings a whole lot of different people to the table to discuss this issue that's happening downtown. From the developers to the mayor, to the club owners, to the musicians themselves. And I feel like because we're not butting heads with people as much in the film, we're not saying it's one person's fault or this person's fault. I feel like a lot of people feel comfortable with coming to the table.
Yeah.